After high school, I started a lawn care business, and for 12 years, I had a pretty good business. Every year, customers would say, I had thought about getting my real estate license. So every year, customers would move. So the one year, 3 customers moved. I told them I was going to get my license. They said, Dan, if you had your license, we would have listed with you. So the one year, over winter, I take my classes, I take the test, I pass. Interview with a couple companies, and I decided to go with this one company in media. So after I signed all the papers, they're like, yeah, we'll give you a key to the building. And working for myself, I wasn't used to the corporate world. And I thought, well, big building, I have a key, come and go as I want. I was sort of surprised. So the first week I was on floor time. Saturday morning, I go in at 9 o'clock, and I'm there by myself. Half hour later, somebody comes in. They said, I'm going to meet somebody, so just page me when they come. So 10 minutes later, somebody comes in, and I page the person. And about a minute later, I thought it was just the 2 of us in the building. A minute later, I hear the intercom come back, and they say, don't page on the weekend until after 10. And I thought to myself, who was that? And I'm like, so I go back to the person, and I told her the people are still up front, and it wasn't her, it was a guy voice. And so then about 15 minutes later, I go upstairs, get something to drink, and guy comes out of the office, and he's wearing pajamas. And I'm like, I hadn't met this guy yet. And I look in the office, and he has like a little futon set up, like rolled out. And I'm like, boy, he must have slept here. I'm like, so I go about the rest of the day working. And he introduced himself, and he said, listen, yeah, I sleep here. And I'm like, what? So here, this is my first time working for like a big company or something, and I'm not used to the way it all goes. So I said something to my manager. He liked to work all hours of the night, since I had not given up the lawn care at that time, and I was doing both. I would go in sometimes at night. So my manager's there, and I said, hey, Ken, I told him what happened. He goes, he's not still living. He didn't have his cat with him. I said, what? He goes, he has a cat, and he stays here in his office, and I told him he had to get rid of the cat. And I said, he lives here? And he goes, yeah. And I'm thinking, he's a realtor, he's homeless, lives at the office. And I'm like, I didn't see a cat. And he goes, well, the one time, he goes, I told him he had to get rid of the cat because I was here at 3 in the morning, and I heard him up there walking. And I hear him come down the steps, and Ken liked to work all hours of the night because he felt like if he was there in the middle of the night, nobody would bother him. He'd get twice as much done. And Rob came in, and Ken looked up at him, and Rob was bleeding in the face. Ken's like, what the hell happened? He's like, we went in Mary and Fred's office, and he would have his cat on his shoulder sometimes. And Fred and Mary had one of the Billy the Bass fish on the wall. So Ken's telling me, my manager, and he goes, that Rob said, I leaned over and I pushed a button on the fish. And Billy the Bass fish started singing and dancing. And it scared the hell out of his cat, and his cat went, "Meow!" and scratched him all over the face. And that's why he came down. He's asking Ken for the first aid kit. And I said to Ken, I worked for myself for 12 years. Is this the way this really works in the real world? And later I find out from Rob, and I get to know him a little more. And once a week he'd drive to Allentown, and he'd get changed, do his laundry, do all the stuff every Saturday night. And I thought, there's no refrigerator. I'm like, here he worked at Big Bennigan's 4 nights a week. So he said, yeah, I got it all worked out. He's like, I work and I get food for the week. I stay at the office, and I go to grandmom's in Allentown once a week to do my laundry. And I thought to myself, boy, how come I didn't meet you before I was married? And that was my first job at a big company.